Hey, what's up guys, I'm Adrian, and today I'm going to talk about the 9 modern-day Frankensteins. There have been many mad scientists over the years that have done wonderful and horrible experiments on humans and animals. Now, a new breed of Dr. Frankensteins have made advances in medicine that were once relegated to the pages of science fiction / horror novels. Number 1. Austrian researchers grow a brain in a lab. Researchers in Austria have taken a tantalizing step toward understanding the human brain by growing one. Okay, it's not floating brain in a jar, but rather cerebral organoids that are just 4 mm large, grown from human stem cells in petri dish. These so-called mini brains have distinct regions and represent the first time that scientists have been able to generate something close to brain tissue in a lab. It's definitely a long way from a cognizant entity, but it showed them how a rare brain condition called microphthalmia might develop, and offers a possibility of diagnosing and treating other disorders like schizophrenia and autism. Number 2. Norwegian doctors bring a woman back from clinical death. Anna Home, a doctor studying in Narvik, Norway, had a horrible accident in 1999 while skiing their famous slopes. The freak set of circumstances resulted in her being trapped under ice for over 80 minutes. They flew her frozen dead body by helicopter to the nearest hospital an hour away. She was ice cold with no vital signs and no pulse. Dr. Mads Gilbert made a decision that saved her life. They slowly warmed her icy body. 3 hours later, her heart began to beat again. Home slowly recovered, and her story has become a beacon of hope for others who have crossed over to the other side. Number 3. Dr. Michael Levin rejuvenates cells with bioelectricity. Using electricity to jumpstart cell and life regeneration has been around even before Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein. In fact, freaky Italian Dr. Giovanni Aldini and his experiments using electricity to animate corpses may have inspired Shelley. Biologist and Tufts researcher Michael Levin has brought the concept of bioelectricity into the modern world, using tiny electric currents at the molecular level to excite cells into action. Number 4. Dr. Sergio Canavero states a head transplant is now possible. There have been several attempts over the last century to transplant a head to a different body. In 1959, China said that they were able to transplant a dog's head. And in 1970, a monkey's head was successfully attached to another body. The problem was always reattaching the spine. The monkeys and dogs did not live long after the operations. But in July 2013, an Italian scientist named Sergio Canavero said in a recently published paper that a human head transplant is now possible. And I quote, "The greatest technical hurdle to such an endeavor is of course the reconnection of the donor's and recipient's spinal cords." Dr. Canavero was quoted as saying, "It is my contention that the technology only now exists for such linkage." He says that a clean-cut spinal cord is the key to attachment and subsequent reattachment. His findings have been met with both praise and skepticism, and so far no one has attended the procedure. Any volunteers? Number 5. Plastic surgeon creates the perfect wife. Dr. David Malloch was always looking for the perfect woman. When a patient named Veronica came to see him about a vaginoplasty, he claims it was love at first sight, or at least he saw her as a malleable slab of flesh that he could shape. He proposed a series of procedures to make her into a Wonder Woman, including a shin shaft, liposuction, and breast implants. Then he proposed to her on bended knee. She said yes to both, and ever since he has been sculpting her body with a myriad of procedures to enhance her outer beauty. Number 6. The Safar Center reanimates dead dogs. The Safar Center of Resuscitation Research in Pittsburgh has taken a step toward raising the dead. In 2005, researchers took several dogs, removed all of their blood, and replaced it with a saline solution. This brought the dogs to a state of clinical death for 3 hours. Then they flushed out the saline, returned the blood, and voila! Zombie dogs. The center says it's an important step toward possessing the ability to revive seriously injured and perhaps even clinically dead people by preserving them until they can be treated. What do you guys think about that? Number 7. Stelarc does crazy experiments on himself. Most mad scientists perform their experiments on others, but not Stelarc. Stelarc is turning himself into a monster. Some of the things he has done include surgically attaching a robotic arm, allowing others to manipulate his body via electronic pulses sent through the internet, and suspending his flesh from hooks numerous times. One of his recent experiments involved doctors grafting a third ear on his forearm. Number 8. Bioartists in Australia create sculptures from human cells. It's where science meets art, or the stuff of a nightmare. You decide. Symbiotic A group of science artists from the University of Western Australia have created sculptures from living tissue. For example, they have made an ear from human cells, a leather jacket from mouse cells, and even grown frog tissue in the shape of a steak. Among the first sculptures were the semi-living worried dolls, seated with living cells which were generated during the exhibition. Number 9. Real Dr. Frankenstein practicing in Michigan. There is literally a real Dr. Frankenstein. Dr. Walter E. Frankenstein is an actual doctor who at the age of 85 still has a practice in Bellevue, Michigan. He's been a family doctor for 55 years. Sure, he's heard of all the jokes and likes to take advantage of it in Halloween. Maybe it's just one of life's odd coincidences, but it sure is funny to read his name on medical reference websites. So that's the end of the video. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And also let me know which of the modern day Frankensteins you liked in the comment section below. Goodbye, guys.
Hey, what's up guys? Today I wanted to talk about the best Nintendo games of all time. Let's get started. First we have Super Mario Bros. There is no Nintendo list that doesn't include Super Mario Bros. The classic game is still so popular today that you can purchase it for multiple consoles, phones, tablets, and more. There's something great about